today. I'm going to record this if that's okay. Uh, Fantastic. All right. So can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
You can see I seen this is how to grow your souls in the social. Amazing. All right. So let's crack into a little bit. I've said 90 minutes. We'll probably be done a little bit sharper than that, but I just want to allow for questions and make sure that, because I've got some slides prepared, but I really want to be of service to you guys as much as possible. So really smash it out the park in terms of very specific advice for you guys. So if you have any questions as we go, please just crack on. A little bit about who I am. Started a whole bunch of businesses from IT, digital marketing, even had a water purification business at one point. Love business, martial artist, did Kung Fu for many years, taught Kung Fu, went to go to Hong Kong to go and train with the guy that taught Bruce Lee, which was pretty cool. He kicked my ass even though he was like 80 years old, which was quite a thing. Husband, happily married, 2 cats. I live in Edinburgh. And yeah, I'm an absolute personal development nut. As soon as I figured out that I heard somewhere that you only use 10% of our brains, I was like, what's in the rest? Like, what's in the rest of what's in the rest of there? And yeah, that's kind of led me on this quest to be like, what is the next level? What is it like to be fully human? And I'll tell you a little bit more about my journey as we go along. But kind of the main relevance for today's session is the digital marketing stuff. So 20 odd years doing digital marketing things for all kinds of companies, more than 400 different companies. I need to update that across, Africa, Australia, Europe, UK, USA. I've sold all kinds of things online for all sorts of businesses. But specifically over the last 2 or 3 years, my sort of spiritual path and the business path have started to converge. I felt like I lived in 2 worlds, where it was like the business stuff was out there, and then separately from that, meditation, personal development, really just trying to understand my purpose. And lockdown has actually been a great forcing function for me to just get my shit together, right? And figure out like, what am I actually doing here? Like, why am I here? Who do I serve? What do I want? And as a consequence, this year was the first year that I hit £100,000 in revenue. Okay, so let me replay that back. 20 years in digital marketing, and this is the first time I've broken through into 6 figures. Okay, so part of what I'm going to share with you is some of that journey, the fast track of that journey, because out of all the different types of businesses that I decided that I could work with, the people that I want to work are the people that have helped me on my journey. The coaches, the consultants, the spiritual practitioners that have helped me get my head together at some of the worst times in my life and also some of the best times. So out of all the digital marketing stuff that I've done, really I'm focusing now in on that very specific niche. I call you guys light bringers, okay? Because light, from wherever it comes from, arrives from the unmanifest, and certain people will pick it up and say, you know what, let's start spreading it around. So in my meditation and one of my purpose meditations, I heard the voice say to me, John, weaponize the light bringers. Like, okay. So this is a direct extension of that to say, if I'm going to focus on a specific market segment, who are the people I want to be of service to? And how do we get you guys from waking up one day and going, hey, I want to do good and make money? How do we get you guys to escape velocity as fast as possible? And based on my experience of doing the good stuff and the bad stuff, hopefully I can share with you guys the shortcuts today. If you want to work with me, great. If not, also great. But today I really want to be of service. I don't want to hold anything back. So if you have any questions about any of this stuff, bring it on. So first I want to share with you the hard way of making £100,000 in a consulting type of business. All right. So the first hard way is to have a shitty money story. Okay. It makes it very, very difficult for you to make money. So strategies here include resisting money, having all sorts of nonsense head trash about how doing good and making money are in opposition. It manifests in how do you charge people for stuff, manifests in your pricing, and also this crazy strategy where as soon as you start to get a big win or you land a big client, you immediately self-sabotage. So and you go kind of round and round and round in circles. So I suggest that if one of the ways to break through that escape velocity is, don't have a shitty money story. Have a better money story. Have a better money story. The second strategy I don't recommend, and I tried this really hard, is to be the marketing system as opposed to having a marketing system. So what that means is you basically operate like this. You hustle, you do whatever it takes, you network, you go to all kinds of events, you get some clients, you build up your income, then you switch to execution mode, you look after them, and then you start again. And then you have to hustle up a whole bunch of people, get a whole bunch of clients, execute, get work, and then you start again. This is exhausting. Like, it is absolutely exhausting because you just there's never a sense of progress, and you kind of go into this yo-yo state. So yeah, don't do that. I don't recommend it. And then the third thing is to try and do it alone. If you're business owners us entrepreneurs generally are a fairly lonely bunch. There's not that, we're in the minority of the population, and generally building a business is a fairly lonely path. If you're some kind of spiritual practitioner or positive development nut, it's even a smaller percentage of the population. And we tend to spend a lot of time going, self-doubt, going, what the hell are we doing here? Right? Am I doing this? Am I doing the right thing? And if you're anything like me, most of my family don't understand what I do. Out of their best intentions, will often try and protect me from risk. Go, oh, don't take that big leap, don't take that big step. Why don't you go get a real job? Because they love me and they want me to be safe. Yeah. Having a community, having like-minded people around you that are on a similar path, much more effective strategy. All right, so that's the hard way. I do not recommend that you do any of those things. Can any of you recognize any of this behavior? Done some of this before, maybe? Okay, cool.
Long ago.
Okay, amazing. All right, so what we're going to do is let's rewind this and let's do some of the stuff, share with you some of the stuff I've learned to help us go faster. Does that sound okay? Okay. Amazing. So the first thing I want to share is the do good and make money framework, what I call the infinite expansion game, right? Which is a big frame that we can go in and basically have, make as much money and make as much impact as we want while pursuing the spiritual journey of expansion. Right? It's kind of spiritual permission to make shitloads of money. Second thing is the practical roadmap to 100K. How do you actually build your system, and what are the steps involved to lay down the path so that you get to, and it's initially the first £100,000 that I'm interested in at the moment, because that's what I call escape velocity. Right? That's when you have a business and you can earn an income, and your family kind of stop worrying about you, and you have spare money to start investing in stuff in the next level. So I'm going to share with you, to the best of my knowledge, what the fastest way is to smash that goal. And the secret number 3 is how to go faster with a mastermind. Okay. Is this more or less on track with what you guys are expecting? You in the right place? Good. All right, amazing. All right. So secret number 1, what I call do good and make money. So this is the big blue ball of rock. Anyone recognize this place? We've been here before? Nope. Planet Earth, our home for the moment, unless Elon Musk has his way and we get a spare one. So, talk about a good backup plan. So this is a little bit of my adventures on planet Earth. My parents were divorced when I was 3. Grew up with my mom, kind of didn't have a good male role model. My stepdad was ex-army. He believed in corporal punishment. Used to go and every time he caught me playing was experimenting. I remember one day I disassembled a bicycle pump, and I was busy playing with it in the bathroom, and he was like, you bastard, you broke it. Go into the garden and fetch a stick, and I'm going to hit you with it. Right. So formative, character building experience. At school, I was very much a rule breaker. Cheated in my final exams, didn't finish school officially, and ended up never going to university, very much related to that. And still a lot of self-doubt around that, which kind of took into a whole bunch of business, started a bunch of businesses and collapsed a whole bunch of businesses. Right. So all of that stuff happened. On the other side of that, the divorce allowed me to have crazy self-awareness. I created a sort of virtual self, like out of a fear of not wanting to get hurt. I created this virtual version of myself through which I would filter all my behavior. Okay. So no, you would my inner self became crazy protected, but I would have this virtual self through which I'd filter all my behavior. All right. So before I do something, I'd put it through this virtual self. That person would speak. I'd simulate the potential of harm and then bring it back. And then based on that, I would make my actions. That mechanism has been absolutely massive in terms of me being a marketer, because I could use that same ability to simulate many different types of human behavior. The whole like getting corporal punishment and all that sort of stuff created this crazy self-reliance in me that, I realized no one's coming to save me, right? It's pretty much me. And when I soon stopped wanting people to save me, I started looking inside myself for power. This whole cheating and, cheating at school morphed into this ability to kind of have a very low tolerance of bullshit systems. And it turns out in real life, in business, like the shorter way, you actually get incentivized to create a shorter way to win it. Completely contradictory to how the whole school system behaves. The whole dropout thing also directly contributed to me becoming an entrepreneur. Right? If I had gone just to study, I would have become a psychologist. Right? And I didn't actually want to become a psychologist. That was just the default path I was on. Right? It was just momentum. And the whole business failure thing created within me the ability to be able to create money with no money. I had to start again with nothing and build the whole thing up again, literally with nothing. And what that created in me is the ability to make money with no money. So I'm like bulletproof now. I have no fear of losing it anymore because I know I can start again with literally nothing and build it up again. So here's the crazy question, all right, are any of these experiences inherently good or bad? Okay, like, yes, my parents got divorced, but there's an equal and opposite positive gift. Okay, yeah, I almost went bankrupt and lost a whole bunch of money, but the opposite side, there's a light on the other side of that. Right. So can you feel your brain going a little bit like, okay, David, looks like you want to say something.
I can relate. I remember getting divorced and that being the biggest lesson for me. So every good has its equal.
Yeah.
Bad, and every bad has its equal good. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And here's the crazy thing is when I started talking about this stuff, it turns out every entrepreneur's got some kind of story like this, right? Like there's almost a direct correlation between childhood trauma and entrepreneurism. Right? Now, entrepreneurs are highly correlated with this sort of very patchy upbringing, where we just kind of go, yeah, well, I'm just going to do it myself. Okay. Oh yeah, and out of one of the weird things, out of the strange things, I got to meet Oprah, so that was pretty cool too. Right? So here's the frame. Like I think what I've come to realize is that this place that we're in, this planet that we're on, is not inherently good or bad. It's just there. Right, it is a place of a synthesis of complementary opposites. Right, so there's shit happening all the time. It's not inherently good or bad, but our perceptions, our human consciousness gives us this perception. Right, we label these things, and if we think we're over there, we kind of go, "Oh, I'm having a bad experience," or if we're over there, we think, "Oh, I'm having a good experience." Right, but the atoms and the particles of the experience actually don't care; they're just there. But it's our human experience that labels these things. And as an experience that I'm sure you guys experienced many times, there's that moment where you realize that the bad experience is actually a good experience if you see it that way, and there's the growth that we need to go through on the other side of the darkness that unlocks the light. And you start to see that there could be something else. These two opposites kind of fuse, and then insight, awareness, light, break through to the next level. Okay. Like David with his divorce. But of course, the next level happens as soon as you have this increased insight. What you get to see then is the next level of the game, which generally includes some kind of new challenge, right? And of course, the game then starts again. Oh, I'm having a bad experience, but actually there's an equal and opposite positive here, and the gateway then to a new level of the game. Okay. You guys, is this landing for you? Are you seeing how this? Okay. So stick with me here. We'll get to the marketing stuff very soon, I promise. Okay. But we're laying down some foundational stuff here. All right. So guess what happens? You get to the next level of the game. Enlightenment. But guess what happens? You get to see the next level. Light, more challenge, and of course the opportunity then for more light. You go, oh, I'm going to leave my job and go do this coaching thing. Yay, amazing. And then you realize it's actually quite tough, and you try and get your first client. And then you get your first client, and it's like amazing. And then I have to deliver and make sure that they're happy. And then you get your first testimonial, and it's like, yay. And then you get your first challenging client. And then you have to grow as a coach and grow as a human and expand your capacity. And that then enables you to grow. Then, yeah, you solve the money game. And then it's like, oh, there's the tax game. Right? And then you have to solve the tax game. And then you solve that. And then there's the staff game. And then there's the automation game. I don't think it ever really stops, which is awesome, because this is a video game with an infinite amount of levels. And you get to keep all the money. And the loot is real and the graphics are awesome. Yeah. So this is the what I call the infinite expansion game. All right. Now, the reason where this ties into marketing, right, is that wherever you are on this level, on this growth of your path, hunting down whatever the highest level is, you might not have it all figured out at your level, but there's a statistically significant percentage of the human population that are on a similar path somewhere on the planet. Right. And as much as you might be confused over there, there's a certain number of people that are on a similar path that are looking up going, that guy. Okay. And isn't it interesting that sometimes the best people to learn stuff from is not the people that are like way up in the 50 levels ahead, but people 1 or 2 levels ahead, because it's still fresh, right? They've just learned this stuff. Okay. And it's one of the big challenges I see in the whole coaching and the digital marketing coaching space is that as new coaches, we tend to go and try and copy the Tony Robbinses, the Pedro Adeos, the name your celebrity, and they've got this entire built-out system, but that's not where they started. That's not how they got there, right? So, in the same way, you don't have to be the next great big massive success in order to be of incredible service for people that are just a couple of levels below you, because they're over here looking at you they're going like, what the fuck over here? You're over here and you can just go that way, right? The stuff that I've just learned, the path I've just followed, the stuff in myself I've just unlocked enables you to light a path for those that follow. Boom. So the moment I realized that, so I invite you to consider, okay, I don't want to be right or wrong here, but this is a frame, right? I invite you to consider that wherever you are, there's a certain percentage of the population that desperately needs the thing that you've just learned. And secondly, they're primed to receive it from you better than anyone else on the planet, right? The way that you download, you have experienced that information, the same way as my experiences have informed my perspective and my ability to transmit the information. And some people are going to be like, hey, this guy, and some people are not, and that's fine. Same with Tony Robbins. Same with, marketing people, Russell Brunson, Deepak Chopra. Some people are going to be like, yes, this guy, and some people are not. And the whole, to me, the marketing game as a light bringer, as a coach, is to find the people that resonate with you and help them. That's it. It's that simple. It's not about convincing anybody, but it's finding those people for which you're going to have that resonance. Okay. And once you embrace that you're in the same way as my positive and negative experiences have created a very unique, imprinted a very unique way of operating for me. It's going to be the same thing for you. And some people are going to get it in a way that, no one else gets it. The other insight is you don't have to have your whole life sorted out to do this. There's always another level. You can always level up another bit and help people that are just below you. You don't have to have your entire life sorted out in order to make a really good living doing this and helping and really, really helping people. And the only way to make money in this frame is to help people get to the next level. Like to me, that's when if it's coaching, if it's consulting, whatever it is, when it works, you're helping people to get from here to there and helping them with whatever's in the way. And once you realize this, I believe it's your duty to make shitloads of money. Cool. Is that a better money story? Or are you feeling a little bit like, okay, inspired? Are you feeling the fire to be like, cool, let's go help some people? Okay. Okay, because here's the big game, right? Is that if you think about all those people, you visualize the entire planet of those people that you can help. Like, here's the mission. They don't know, they all feel alone. We can help them feel like they have a community. They don't have specific advice. You can make them feel heard. Right? They don't have a practical roadmap to achieve the next level. You can give them the practical roadmap in a way that no one else can. And if we do that, you can low-key change the world. Right? Your specific area of the world, and who knows what could happen. Okay. Cool. So, questions on that? Good so far. Amazing. Okay. Cool. So let's go level 2, what I call the world's simplest marketing system. I'm going to digress a little bit here because I like to do this next bit a little bit more interactively. But typically, this is the kind of stuff when you start doing marketing. It's like, I must do all the things. And of course, if you want to try and do digital marketing stuff in the, you try and learn it from the blogosphere, it kind of looks like this. It's completely disorganized, 15 crazy things you have to have done yesterday. Otherwise, bad things are going to happen. And it's pretty much, like this. But here's the game, really. Out of those people that you can serve, you want to get them to move from left to right in the simplest amount of moves as possible. Okay, so I'm a bit of a strange digital marketing person, right? Because I love data and I love simplicity. And work with startups and counter this the lean startup framework, which says like, anything that doesn't contribute to customer value is waste. So it's about not doing more marketing, but how do we take away all the extraneous bits until you can really just get, like the simplest amount of moves as possible. Because here's, as a marketing consultant, one of the things I realized, people don't want marketing consultants. They don't actually want to do digital marketing. Right? There are some people that like to do the whole social media thing. I am definitely not one of them. It's a means to an end. Like, I don't like washing the dishes. I like clean dishes. Okay, so let's think about what is clean dishes for you. Okay, what does winning look like? And this is a little bit of a thought experiment. It's to think about how many clients do you actually need, right? Let's define winning. Okay, all right, for you to absolutely smash your current income goals, just have a think about how many clients do you actually need. Right. And it's probably not 1,000. We can park that for a minute, and I'll give you some maths. Leon, do you have an idea?
Yeah, I have a number in head, and I'm working towards it, and it's 10.
10. Okay, 10 people. That's the game.
10 companies. Okay. Yeah, I work more with teams, so with companies, not with people, but yeah, 10.
Okay, that's 10.
I'm at 4 right now, so I'm not even that far away.
Amazing. Amazing. David, what is the number for you?
So this year, the number is 36. There is a couple of us in the business. A 10 would be amazing, but we know more. Yeah, 36.
Yeah, amazing. And I think, when I do this, like, it's not 1 million. It's not 100,000. It's like 10 or 36. It's not even 100. And I know you're busy side working, but do you know what your number is?
Well, at the moment, I'm focusing mainly on one-to-one, so I'd be probably looking at about 30 in a year.
Okay, amazing. 30. All right, so that's the game. 30. Again, it's not 300, it's not 3,000. And most people tend to build their marketing systems as if it's going to be 30,000. For 30 people, like, you don't need a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you don't need, 30 people, it's less than one a month. It's 5. It's like 2 a month, 3 a month, 3 new clients a month. So that means 3 new clients a month. You probably need maybe 4 like discovery calls a month. Like 4 kind of decent conversations with the right types of people. You close 1 in 4. Happy days. It's about 4 meetings a week to get one a week. Okay, like, that's what winning looks like. That's the system we're designing. Not how much more stuff can we add. How do you simplify it right down to what does winning look like? And within that, there's 3 different levels. That's what I call scarcity, abundance, and prosperity. Scarcity is when you just get started. It's the, I don't make enough money to cover my expenses. You want to get the hell out of there as fast as possible and not spend shitloads of money on Facebook ads and stuff like that. Get the hell out of scarcity. Abundance is when you have more money than you need. And prosperity is when you have your systems and processes locked down to the point that even if you stopped working, scarcity is no longer an option. To me, that's pretty decent definition of winning. So I'll speak a little bit more about this, but the journey really is from, and you're very much on it, one-to-one, then groups, then hybrid, then online. One of the booby traps in this game is people tend to go straight for online and they try and create courses in a vacuum. It's no different to people trying to build products, tech products in a vacuum and spend hundreds of millions building some amazing app and then no one ever uses it. It's a fundamental human behavior. Okay.
Guilty right here, guilty.
So just like validate first. And in this consulting coaching game, our product is our ideas. Okay, you can create, the difference between a $50 an hour practice and a 5,000 or 15,000 pound program is just words, man. It's just ideas. Yeah, like there's you don't have to build anything with steel or rocks or anything, but it's just an idea and it's just about the positioning. That's why I love this game. Absolutely love this game. All right, so that's kind of the journey. And if you're starting with, so there's the game is to start with one-to-one, high value, low volume, one-to-one coaching for which you charge shitloads of money and deliver insane value. Level 1. And all of the marketing stuff that we do is basically, once you get crystal clear on the people that you care about, the only marketing that matters is the marketing that those people see. Anything else is wasteful. Right. So if you want to think about how many clients you actually need, it's a simple formula. How much money do you want to make? How much does your program cost? How many clients do you want to work with? And your money, so your money divided by your program equals your clients. How many leads do you need to get a client? And how many leads do you need in total? And a lead really is just someone that you can have a conversation with that has the problem you solve and the money for your program. And and to me, that like the simplest version of this game is conversations with people with problems and money. Okay, it's really that simple. You can help all the people in the world. I mean, I tried really hard to help all the people in the world, but that didn't have any money by being one of them. This is not an effective strategy. Much more effective to deliver insane value for high price to a certain group of people, and then take the money and go and help the other people. 2 separate missions. Try and mix them, not so much. So in terms of that, in terms of speaking to people with problems and money, out of all the people in the world, so you imagine our little, these little people, imagine them in the planet, imagine them sprinkled all over the place, all over the planet. They're going to be in different stages of awareness, right? So some people, if they're not yet pain aware, they're not motivated to do anything, it's very difficult to get them to move. Like David is a master NLP practitioner. Can you use NLP to change someone if they don't want to change? Okay. Okay. It's changing software is easy. Changing humans is very hard. Configuring humans, very tricky business. So my invitation, if you're only trying to find 10 or 30 people, is not to try and convince people to do stuff, but to look for people that are already motivated to move and then help them. Okay, so these solution seeking. So the other facet to this is that people don't often show up going, hey, I need an NLP, I need an NLP practitioner. I'm noticing self-sabotaging patterns. What I need is an NLP practitioner to help me repattern my childhood experiences. Right? That's not how they show up. They generally go, like, I don't know, why do I hate myself? Why am I self-sabotaging? Why am I unhappy? And they're feeling the pain. That's normally where people show up. And so pain aware, they might be aware of the problem and start to seek a solution. And in the solution seeking mode, this is a great place to intercept people. So to me, this is what good marketing does, especially in our space, is we create a stream of people that are in the solution seeking space. And why do I love LinkedIn so much? Because out of all the platforms, it's the platform where the people with all the money are. There's the highest concentration per capita on LinkedIn as opposed to any other platform. TikTok has the highest reach. Facebook has, until recently, the best advertising platform in terms of the technological sophistication. But LinkedIn's where all the money is. Like, that's where all the people are with the money. Secondly, the targeting is absolutely first rate on LinkedIn. When you're dealing with a person on LinkedIn, there's no doubt who they are. You know what their name is, you know what their work, what they're doing. And it's one of the best places to just start a conversation, that you can reach out and be like, hey, I see you're this kind of person. Are you interested in this kind of thing? Hey, me too. Let's have a chat. Super simple. Not so much a little bit on the other channels, but I think out of all of those, that's why it's my favorite. So let's talk a little bit about, so this is the funnel that you guys are in at the moment, right? The LinkedIn webinar funnel. And this is part of this process, which I'll explain in a different tool. It's part of the 100K roadmap, and I'll explain it in a different system. But one of the things, and masterclass mastery is sort of halfway up. It's one of the tools in the program. Okay, which is, it really is that simple. Create a masterclass on LinkedIn. Invite the people in your first degree connections, invite other people, encourage other people to do the same. And you can get up to 1,000 first degree connections. You can invite up to 1,000 first degree connections to webinar every week. And that costs no money. Which is a nice way. So if you structure your webinar very, very, precisely, like you guys presumably want to grow your coaching business without selling your soul on the socials, have a reasonable, I'm reasonably confident that you guys want to grow your coaching business. Yeah, you're probably in a solution seeking mode. And other than a bit of prep, it doesn't cost any money. And so again, why I love LinkedIn, because like people don't really, I find that the LinkedIn event mechanism is one of the most underutilized platforms. And it's really, this is the simplest funnel. Invite people to a webinar, give them some value, and ask them if they want to work with you. It's literally that simple. And I mean, you guys, Leon, you've arrived on this webinar. Did you look at my website? Nope. Okay,
no, I'm like, the guy looking for the least, how do you say that? I can't find the words. Anyway, the event got my attention and said, okay, I'm going to be there. Simple. Yeah. I'm a fast decision maker. I don't need to research and, is your website legit or something? No, this communicates value to me. I'm going to go for it. That's how I work, simply.
Well, there we go. And that's how I like for coaches and consultants. I've tried lots of ways of doing this. Like building the website's a pain in the ass. All right. But it's not essential. Like you don't actually need it.
I don't have a website actually.
Amazing. And you seem to be doing all right. Okay. So websites are nice, but it's not 100% essential. So to get going from 0 to 100K, you can get there with, a good LinkedIn profile, a decent masterclass, and the ability to talk to humans. Like that is it. Oh, of course, and deliver value, but I'm going to take that as read that if you've managed to get to this sort of level of life experience, you've experienced some darkness, right? Which means that you've come out the other side, and it means you can empower other people to do the same. So how are we doing for time? How are you guys doing for time? I can dig a little bit deeper into this if you want.
I got like another half an hour or so.
All right, perfect. All right. Cool. All right, let's dig a little bit more into this, because I think this is what you guys are coming here for, is this is the good stuff. Because I've tried this also, keep refining the process, but I thought, how do we create the practical roadmap? Like, how do we actually make people go as fast as possible? How do we sprint to 100K? So essentially, there's 3 levels to this game. The first level, and unlike most digital marketing people, I'm like, let's just get to the money first. Okay, we don't have to build a whole bunch of super complicated infrastructure. Let's just make some money. Once you've got the money thing handled, then we look at influence, and then at time. Get your time back so you can actually have a business. And the most important thing, this is the absolute fundamental, is your offer. Because here's what happens as if you're an NLP coach or a yoga practitioner or a consultant. We generally emerge from the training, even an action coach, right? We emerge from the training undifferentiated. Okay, unless you go through David's program where he helps you with this stuff.
Thanks, John.
A little bit of props for you. But in my work with consultants, and Jay, your timing is impeccable. Is that the first level of the game is sharpen your offer. Like, what is the thing that you're actually offering in exchange for money? And so there's a couple of different layers and levels to this, and I imagine these as little like levers, little dials, right? So most coaches emerge. You look at them on LinkedIn and go, I'm a wealth coach or a relationship coach or a spiritual coach or something, and you're then in the same bucket as all the other coaches, earning £50 an hour or £100 an hour or whatever. So how do we jack that up? Stack the game in your favor right from the get-go. So there's 4 different levers here. The first one is your ideal client. Like, who are the specific people that you're working for? So if we did a little thought exercise and I said, okay, cool, I have a time management course. I'm selling a time management course. A number pops into your head, right? Okay. If I said to you, I have a time management course for busy professionals, does the number go up or down? Okay. If I had to say I have a time management course for busy professionals in the aerospace industry. Okay. If I say I have a time management course for busy senior executives in the aerospace industry in Texas. Okay. Does the number go up or down? Okay. Crazy, yeah? Product hasn't changed. It's just dialing into your ideal client. And remember, how many clients are you looking for? 10 or 20 or 30, right? So be specific, right? And the more you can be specific about that, the more money you can charge, right? So we're taking this, what seems to be a constraint, I could only work with 20 customers, and flip it around and say, so when you talk about your ideal client, most people say, I work with anyone who blah, blah, blah. All right. So I encourage you to flip it around and say, I only work with, and see what that looks like. And if we just do that, you could probably increase your prices by 50 to 100% just by changing that one lever. Right. And it allows you to be so much more specific. Okay. The second lever is dream outcome. All right. So there's obviously workshops and all sorts of stuff that we use to actually tease this out. But The second lever is dream outcome, right? So if I say I'm going to help you feel a little bit better, it's like, okay, that's one thing. But if you can say, the more specific you can be about it, the better, right? So if I said I'm a digital marketing consultant, it's like, If you say I'm a digital marketing consultant for coaches, better. I'm a digital marketing consultant for coaches, practitioners, and change makers that meditate. And I help them make the first 100,000 in less than 12 months. These are the only people I work with. It changes the game. It also makes my life a hell of a lot easier because all the material, all the sales processes, everything like that become hyper specific in terms of those, those people. All it is the game becomes about helping those one very specific set of people take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And that way your sort of ascension model starts to emerge from that. Okay, the other levers, we can start to dig at things like time delay. How long does it take? Perceived likelihood of success starts to look at things like guarantees, and also to what extent you're addressing the specific problems that your client avatar has. Okay, so Jay, you were saying, you're helping people with that have a specific, that have had some kind of a trauma or a traumatic event.
Yes. So my ideal client, I'm stuck a little bit in how to reach them. The dream outcome, I'm better. Time delay, I'm better. Perceived likelihood. So the rest of the stuff is good. I just, and we can get to the Q&A at the end, but that's where I'm kind of stuck a little bit because I know who it is, but how to reach them because it's not industry specific, like you gave the example of aerospace time management, right? So.
Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's why it takes work, right? This is why I have a job. Can make it as easy as possible, but there's still that last little bit. But that work about getting and dialing in on your ideal client pays you forever. We can, get super, super specific on that, and you don't have to commit to it for life. I heard a phrase recently which really resonated for me: is that you niche your marketing, not your business. Okay. So think about this as like your first 20 clients, niche those very specific people, create very bespoke solutions for them. You can then move on to the next one. But in that, achieving that escape velocity of £10,000 a month or $10,000 a month, the whole process goes faster if you dial it in on one key market segment. You can then, by all means, add another one and add another one and add another one, but one at a time. So this is the work. And this is my program. So if people want to work with me, this is the process that we go through. Is you start with the offer and just make your life easier by dialing in. There's a bunch of exercises and processes that we can go through to help you dial that in so that you're able to articulate what it is that you do, for who, and essentially be completely unique and have an offer that's so good that people feel silly saying no. Right. Out of that, you create your signature solution. So instead of having just like one, I invite you to consider, instead of having just a series or charging per hour, but having programs and give it something cool, give it a cool name. Because if you think about ideal client, where they are and dream outcome, what is the difference between here and there? And the further you can create that gap, the bigger the scope of work, and again, the bigger value. Right. So if I was just providing, hey, I'm going to help you with Facebook posts, it's not a big transformation. Right. But if I can say we'll build a system that'll help you build, you create £10,000 a month in 4 days a week or less, the perceived value is it's going to take 12 months to do it. Right. But suddenly you have certainty over the next 12 months. I mean, it'll probably take less, but I like to, over deliver. Right? 12 months to get that done. Have a cool explanatory diagram like this, and then give it a cool name. Because then you have, instead of being a commodity, you then become a specialist, right? So if you think about Simon Sinek, you've heard of Simon Sinek?
Yes.
Okay. His whole signature process is start with why. Okay. I invite you to consider that you could have one too. So the next thing to do, these things should take a couple of weeks to get that nailed down, because it doesn't have to be perfect, right? As you can see, this diagram is not perfect, right? It's already making me money though, because one of the key things I believe at this level of the game is you sell it first, then build it, right? You validate your product, selling the process things that you're doing. Now I'm at the level of the game where I know this process works because I've worked with high-end clients already, and I'm now creating a group version of this program because I know it already works. Right, so money game, sharpen your offer, signature solution, and then immediately start booking appointments. Right, and as I said, absolutely love LinkedIn because it's the simplest place for you to be able to reach out to have real conversations with people about what's actually going on with them. And the reason, I mean, have you guys tried any kind of LinkedIn marketing before? A little bit? Okay.
Yeah, mainly is just like reaching out, starting a ping pong conversation, trying to figure out what their pain points are, so on and so forth. Yeah, that I did. Yeah.
Amazing. So it's been about 6 months looking, working really hard at figuring out what the simplest way of doing that is. And you've hit the nail on the head right there. It really is just connecting with people, but there are a few shortcuts: optimizing your profile, optimizing the way you make connections, optimizing the way you transition into conversations, and then ultimately opening up the gap, like where are they to where they want to be. And there's a framework, a conversational framework for that. And it's just reaching out to real human people. And the point is to start getting into a conversation about, for a specific group of people, where are you, where do you want to be? And getting into a discovery call. Now in coaching, sometimes called a discovery call, sometimes a strategy call, sometimes maybe you've got your specific name for it. But the typical structure is like, where are you now, where do you want to be? What's in the way? Do you want help? What does help look like? What does help cost? This is what help looks like. This is what help costs. And because you've just created your fancy new signature solution, positioning that now becomes you're able to position and demonstrate a greater transformation. And also at this first stage, because your signature solution is not some marvelous technological edifice, it's just a cool explanatory diagram, you can actually sophisticate it on the fly. But you can customize it for the person that's in front of you. Because once you've mapped out the steps, all that changes on the call is who the person is that starts and who the person is that finishes. Okay. And it's these things over here. So there's a feedback loop in this process over here about, who are you and what do you want, that then starts feeding back into the dream outcome that you're offering, the desired outcome that you're offering. And your offer then starts to get sharper. And who these people are, once you start closing deals and finding out about their world, it starts to create a feedback loop back into your ideal client. What you also start to do is understand the external indicators of those people. Right. So in terms of your LinkedIn, your targeting, since I've been focusing on the segment, initially I was just search for anyone with the word coach, right? And just have a chat to them. But I found that there's all kinds of weird and wonderful basketball coaches and all sorts of things. Whereas now, the filters are a lot more sophisticated. But I can also see that there's a very specific pattern in the people that I love to work with, that they tend to have some kind of corporate career in either tech or marketing, sometimes HR, and then have some kind of awakening and go sideways into some kind of conscious practitioner space of some kind. And you can almost see it in the career progression. So, so that's that level, is just learning how to find your people and learning how to talk to them. But having done the work of, and just of sharpening your offer, you're able to have much more meaningful conversations much sooner. And when you're doing that conversational outreach, and I'm doing this in real time right now, where, if I say, hey, do you need some marketing? People are like, stop spamming me. But if I say, hey, I'm interested, I'm on a mission to weaponize the light bringers. It's a phrase that came to me in a meditation, and I'm really curious to connect with people that are doing good in the world and want to make a living at it. Based on your career trajectory and your recent posts, I think that, you might be on a similar trajectory to me. Would you, I've created a program for 100, the fast track to 100K. Do you want to book a call and find out some more? And people feel like I'm giving them a Christmas present because it's so personalized. But I don't send it out to hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, it's quite crazy to me that you can take like a whole complicated marketing system, and it's probably like 20 or 30 messages a day that you're reaching out to people and saying, hey, are you one of my people? You can't sophisticate it, of course, and you'll get, there's a lot of automation and stuff that you can bring to bear as well to make that go faster. But really, my advice is that you start with real, just one-to-one communication and connecting with people, having that conversation. Once you start to see the patterns, you can then build your automation off the back of that. But without having, of learning how to do that outreach initially, the automation just feels icky. But it's this bit over here that's the gold. Is this what's in the way that you start to learn on these calls? What are the things that people are asking about? What are the bits of friction that people are encountering? Because that is what becomes the foundation of your your external marketing. If you're going to do any kind of, this is where your lead magnets, your website, any of that stuff, that's what you put on those places. Is to say, hey, if you're here and you have this problem and you'd rather be here, this is me and this is what I do, and here's my signature process, and this is how you can get going. Be of service, right? And then from there, the next level is to create your masterclass. So something like this, where you can have a conversation about, okay, what does the journey look like working with you? And it's derived from these appointments. So it's pretty much on solid ground. And what it allows you to do is basically go a little bit faster. So you get to do this prospecting stuff at speed. And it's one of the ways of getting people to say, hey, who are interested in that solution seeking mode, to raise their hand and say, cool, I want to find out more. So that then applies another level of juice and acceleration to this process. So when I do these, typically get between 30 and 100 people that RSVP. Somewhere between 5 and 20 people that show up, but everyone gets a follow-up because everyone is RSVP'd is potentially on that path, and they'll then join my ecosystem in some way, shape, or form. They'll get invites to additional events, invitations to one-on-ones, invitation to networking events, invitation to future masterclasses. And that's just part of that community that I was talking about finding all the people that you can be of service to and start to put them into different buckets that you can then follow up with. So that front end of the prospecting and warming up starts to become increasingly more automated. So you're not doing that yourself all the time. You're increasingly then just dealing with people that are on the warm, that are going, cool, I want to do one-to-one. And the next level of that is partner power, where you start to find out who the influencers are in your community. Who are the people, the tribes, the influencers, the podcasts, the industry organizations that you can be friendly with in order to be of service to their communities. And because you've got all of these assets, you're able to then add another layer of acceleration to this whole process. That then enables you to start. Now you've got the raw materials for your automations and your systems, which enables the last level of acceleration, where you start to leverage yourself out of some of these systems and delegate some of the recurring patterns to automation, to systems, to instead of doing one-to-one all the time, you're having group presentations, you're getting invited to speak, and you have your communities and systems and things, which then you're able to delegate and suddenly get a whole bunch of time back and contemplate your next level of expansion. Make sense?
Yep.
Amazing. Jay looks like he's drinking from the fire hose. Like, whoa, you just know.
I've been drinking from a fire hose for months. Can ask two quick questions? Are we at
Yeah, of course
the
you can.
Q&A? What's and forgive me, guys, because my a little bit of a newbie here. What's
Yeah.
the difference between a signature solution and a masterclass?
The signature solution is this diagram, which I'm showing you, which is the Conscious Business Accelerator.
So it's just a sketch of a solution. It's a concept.
Yeah. So as this is becoming clearer and clearer, because I've been presenting this thing in sales calls for about 2 months now, and every time I do it, it didn't start off this slick.
Right.
If you see over here, there'll be, I started off doing something like this, and then I experimented with something like this.
Yeah.
And as I've
Okay.
been doing it, it's been getting slicker and slicker. And at some point, what I'll do is I'll get a graphic designer to make it like super pretty, and then I'll lock it in.
Got it.
So
All
that's
right.
just
So the
it's
master
different-
class is what you're actually delivering.
Yes.
This signature solution is the concept. And then the other question is, so this whole cycle here, they're not actually buying. There's not a cash exchange till the end. So they're really generating interest all along a
No.
more tightened level of interest.
No. So this is where sales happen. Yeah, you should start be making money from here.
Okay.
Okay, because that's all you need really is if you've got your your signature solution, your offer, you've got your signature solution nailed down, and it really just means a little explanatory diagram that explains your process. Book some appointments, close some deals. That's where the money comes from.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to handle that very, 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 very quickly, because it's the money part that yeah, it's the money part. People tend to go toward, they people tend to kind of resist that. I'm just make some money, get some money, get it over with early, and then makes everything else kind of easier down the line. People tend to want to make a website and do this marketing and that marketing and all that sort of stuff. And all of those things, if you're doing a Facebook strategy or a webinar thing or some kind of a lead magnet or something like that, all of the assumptions about what goes into your lead magnet go so much faster and are much cleaner if you've got actual customers. Whereas if you want to find out what were your customers' pain points, best way to find that out is get some customers.
Yeah.
Help some people, and then off the back of that, create the assets that then support that to go faster.
Yeah, I got some just anecdotally, I got some advice from a woman in I think she's in the UK that runs a big podcasting company, and she had I met her in a network, and she had mentioned that, which I did on Facebook this week to all my followers weekend, when I first just kind of said, I'm kind of open for business, but I said, I'm also doing some market research, and feel free to give me insight into what struggles you have and what struggles are you having. So it was kind of not just come and buy my product. It was come and contribute and give a chance. So it was a way without a paying customer to see if I could get some level of research right into that, because you're right. You ask your customers, but if you don't have them, there is a market set you kind of have, that you can go and ask in some way. So just an interesting approach.
Yeah, because there is, there's the way I learned it was called I spent, I don't know, $7,500 on some fancy masterclass and a 6-month accelerator thing. And one of the best things I got out of that was this process called, he called it reverse gear, but it's basically a way of closing a deal without a product. And it's exactly that. You find, and it really is that it's this simple, right? These are the basic steps. Is if you're in front of a person that you think might be a customer, and the first step is understanding where they are now, and then what they want instead. And And there's a skill to that about rapport, about building trust, about getting them to open up, asking deeper questions, understanding those different levels of motivation. And this is where, you know, as a coach or practitioner, you have the skill set to be able to open up those different levels.
Yeah.
And then, you know, so where are you now? Where do you want to be? What does that mean? What will that mean if you have that? What will that enable you to do? What do you want after that? Is opening the gap. And once you've got that, and it's so strange, once people really feel heard, the trust increases to the point that they'll pretty much buy anything from you, provided you can deliver and you can position it.
Right. And it's quality, right? It's good quality.
Exactly. It's yeah. So and once you've got that, you know, repeat those conversations, because that to me is the raw material of human need and it's a desire. Like, what do people actually want? To the extent that you can be of service on that space and then see how that feels and feel into that and find the patterns on that, that's what creates the process. Which is why instead of creating like a big, you know, people spend months creating their program and then go and sell it. I'm like, no, you can do it in an afternoon with a piece of paper and then go get selling and then find out what it actually looks like.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish I had met you about 6 months ago. That's another story. we all learn. Listen, I've got all kinds of blood stains on my back, but that's okay. You all have the same thing. Is starting up when you started too. So yeah. So I get. But what's interesting is that to me, and then in this group here, is that a large, if not all of us, come from a corporate kind of background that went into. You know, we just didn't go out and get some life coaching certificate, which are like a, buying a Happy Meal these days. We actually had some professional, quite a bit is actually some professional experience that we're now applying in a way that's more passion driven, service driven than what you can ever get inside a corporation, which is just a political monster, right? So
yeah, exactly. And this is like, these are it's one of the things in terms of creating this program. And I'll talk to you a bit about the mastermind, which is my favorite way of working with people at the moment, is to create this community of like-minded individuals and help them accelerate up that track. Is I wanted it to be people that, you know, that like me walk in both worlds, right? That can meditate and feel empathy, but also kick ass, right? You know, that's like, do law of affirmation, do law of attraction and write your affirmations, but also send an invoice. Okay.
Right.
That, that there's that the sort of a hybrid mix of kind of new, spirituality 2.0 or business 2.0, both of them, because it's all kind of bubbling up at the moment, where there's this call right now for there to be, it's not do good or make money, but something that's both and fundamentally better. Right. That there is a new world emerging now where people are craving human connection. They're craving, to work in a place that actually means something, to do work that means something. If you do work that means something and you help people, that make money. So yeah, I mean it's not a coincidence. Hopefully, it's that my marketing is working and we're connecting the right sort of people. So if it's okay, I'm just conscious of time. Can I speak to you guys quickly for just like what the mastermind is and what it looks like?
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're interested, cool. So that's the process. That's 100K ascension model. That's who it's for. And one of the big things people, the third secret is, don't do it alone, do it together. Because when you're trying to do this alone, there is this thing with the nervous system, the terror barrier, where you start to grow, and if you're doing it by yourself, all kinds of weird triggers start to go off, because the nervous system tends to think that change is bad, right? So you start to get some success, and then you get a trigger and react. One of the fastest ways to get around that is by doing it in a group, right? Like-minded people doing this together. So this is what I want to create in Connected Impact, is a situation where we're all aligned to our purpose. A proper Napoleon Hill style mastermind. So have you guys read Think and Grow Rich?
I think everybody is, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so Think and Grow Rich, like a mastermind isn't like, like I see it out on it. It's like a bunch of like a guru has a mastermind, and then once a week you get to ask him questions. And it's like, no. That's like in the mastermind is this other thing that shows up when people connect in unity of purpose. So we have a mastermind. We connect once a week on a Tuesday. In fact, it's later this afternoon. We'll meditate for 30 minutes, connect to the universal intelligence, connect to our purpose, and then from that space, ask for help. So it's not from, one-to-one, but like completely, quite a crazy experience. But that really helps sharpen your purpose. So this is what I wanted to create with Connected Impact is this ability for us to connect to our highest purpose, create a community of people that are all on the same path, and then empower them with the training and the technology frameworks in order to climb that mountain as fast as possible. So, what's included in there? Sharpen your purpose with the weekly mastermind, learn faster because you're doing it in a group. Support is available. So there's Tuesdays, the mastermind. On Thursdays, there's one-to-one office hours. So if you have any technical questions about any of this stuff, then I'm available for help. And then there's a shared training system. So it's an online course that takes you through all the different summits. And I'm adding to that all the time as I'm learning things. So who this works for, coaches, consultants, and people like you. And there's two offers really. The one is join the mastermind, which is £200 a month, which is about $250 a month, Jay. There's no monthly, there's no commitment in terms of you don't have to do it for 12 months. I encourage you to. I think it'll be worthwhile, but if it's not working, then just leave. And then the other alternative is you can work one-to-one with me to help you grow your coaching practice. Price depends on how much support you need, but those are typically the values. But yeah, and that's pretty much, we'll go through the process is the same. Clean up your offer, clarify your framework, get some appointments, make some money, then build all the systems around that in order for you to do that at scale, and then remove yourself from the process, from the shitty parts of the process, so that you're spending most of your time in your highest zone of delivery. And that is what I have around that. And if you want to, if that's something of interest to you, the next step is to book what's called a strategy call. And guess what we're going to go through? Where are you now? Where do you want to be? What's in the way?
Right.
And we'll see if you're a good, if you're a good match for the process, and you're specific, what are the summits going to look like for you? And then we'll onboard you into the mastermind and into the training program and into the technical and informational resources that are available. Cool.
Okay.
Who wants in?
Yep.
I want to book a strategy call, please. I'd like to leverage your experience on LinkedIn specifically. It's an area that I'm really I'm on it and I post on it, but I don't really have strategy for it. So I'd definitely like to talk with you more about that, if that's okay, John.
Amazing. Fantastic.
Can I ask a question as well? Just in
course.
terms of, because you mentioned you utilize LinkedIn for the call that we're on right now, this call. So how often do you run that out of interest? Is that something you run like every month? How do you run
once a month. Once a month, yeah.
And do you tend to find that that's not too much?
Here's the thing. So I'm a big believer in mastery and repetition. Mastery comes from repetition, right? And it's one of the kind of cognitive biases in here is that we tend to go, oh, you make some amazing presentation, do it once, and then you think you have to start again the next time. Whereas that's not how movies work. That's not how songs work. You make a great thing and then you do it for different people every time. So you keep on getting better at it, but you cycle the audience. So that's what I'm doing. So every week, so there's a workflow here where every week, the hard limits of LinkedIn is you can create 100 connection requests a week. and about 100 messages a day. So every day I'm expanding my reach of coaches, consultants, and change makers. I'm expanding my connection. I'm initiating a conversation and then inviting them either into a strategy call or into a webinar. So week on week, my lead board is just getting fuller and fuller and fuller every time. So I don't, so if you do each webinar once at a time, each individual one is like, did it work that time? But you repeat that every time, you repeat that once a month for a year, and you put all the follow-up processes in between, and success is inevitable. So this particular webinar, 25 people RSVP'd, and all of those people shared their email addresses with me. I then, part of what I do is as soon as people RSVP, I start chatting with them even before the call starts. So the moment they RSVP, the workflow is about 4 weeks. The first 2 weeks are about inviting people to RSVP. The second 2 weeks is about follow-up. And then the third week, what I did last time was the third or the fourth week, I then put the deck together. And there's a specific format for the deck, which is introduction, 3 challenges, 3 epiphanies, and a call to action. Right, so this is all part of the system. And the epiphanies, the 3 challenges, I'm always getting from the calls that I'm having and the conversations that I'm having.
And am I right in thinking, John, that your the system that you talk about, is that something that we would have either access to use or as part of the
Yeah, it's my mission to give it away as fast as possible. Right. Yeah, it's like, this is the best stuff I know how to do, and that is exactly what's in all my products. So that whole, so Kim and Sue, so when we do these webinars, one of the most frustrating things for coaches is all of the nonsense around managing RSVPs, the connection between the Zoom and the email system, and all of that sort of stuff, following up with people ahead of the call. So because we've done this so many times, we've got all those systems nailed down. So Kim and Susan, a part of my team, set all that stuff up for you. So you just have you just show up, present, obviously, schmooze people leading up to the call, because that's very much going to be your thing. But then you're free to, create those relationships with people and then follow up with them afterwards. So there's a very specific way of you can go right now and just go and create a LinkedIn event, create a Zoom, a Zoom link, put it in the thing and invite people, which is fine. We do a little bit more stuff that's a little bit more fancy, where we do, you might have noticed when you RSVP'd, like you just said, RSVP yes and done. And you got an email from, you didn't have to RSVP yes and then jump through another hoop to register for the call. It was all just, it all just happened once.
Yeah, it's easy.
So that's all stuff, that's all Kim and Susan's magic.
And is that included if you join the
mastermind? Yeah.
Mastermind.
Yeah. So one of the things we've done, you might have seen, so Connected Impact, we've got a LinkedIn page. And then, so the shared, if you join the mastermind, you're able to create, there's just a form that you fill in, and then Kim and Susan create the event, and you can then promote it. And one of the key levers as part of the mastermind is that everyone else in the mastermind knows this too. So you can invite up to 1,000 people a week to the event, but so can anyone else. So if you have access to allies that are in similar niches, you have access to almost infinite traffic. But it only depends. People are only going to invite other people to your event in proportion to the strength of the connection that you built with them.
Yeah.
That's another feedback loop that is with the mastermind, is you're connecting with these other people that are on a similar mission to you, and potentially developing these strategic relationships. So yeah, so my vision for this is to, I want this group to be thousands of people big, because the more people in the group, the powerful the whole group becomes. So
cool. Okay, John, I'm going to have to shoot because I've got a call at 3, but thank you so much for your time today. Should I drop you a message on LinkedIn to book a call?
Yeah, fantastic. I'll send you a link to my diary. Just grab some time and then let's have a chat.
Yeah.
Nice
thank you for this. It's very helpful. Thank you.
All right, amazing. Jay, any last questions or?
No, I think I asked away, but no, it was helpful. I understand the flow better. It's very helpful. Thank you for the info.
Good to meet you,
No
everybody.
trouble at all.
Catch you soon.
All right. Thanks, David. Do you want to book a strategy call and find out more?
No, but I'm on your mail list now. So let me,
Yeah, that's fine.
because I
Sure.
just, yeah. So not right now, but let me consider, that. Okay.
Fantastic. You're incubating. No bother. Jay, all the
Thanks
best.
again
If,
for everything.
if I can help out in any way, just follow the Connected Impact page. You'll get invited to future events. And there'll also be some networking things as well. So yeah, any way I can help you out, let's
Yeah, I
collaborate.
think I followed. Okay, great. Thank you so
Good
much.
stuff. Thanks, Jay. All the
Appreciate
best.
it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.